We like old adverts.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to We Like Old Adverts. I am Joe. I'm joined, as ever, by Jim and Connell. And today, we are honoured to be joined by our esteemed guest, Mr. Stuart Ashens, a.k.a. Ashens. Hello, mate.
Hello. How are you doing?
Very well. How are you?
Not so bad, thank you. Not so bad.
Excellent. So for new viewers to this channel, what we like to do is find adverts, the weirdest, best, most strange, most offensive adverts we possibly can, and just chat through them, see what happens. So this episode is a very special one because our esteemed friend Ashens here has brought three. You've taken over our channel, Stuart.
It's a takeover.
Finally.
Like a really polite one.
Yes.
Like, we should make it clear, we're not under duress here.
I brought everyone cakes before brutally concussing them, yes.
Yeah, but to be fair, Stuart, we've seen the things you eat on your channel, so I would not trust a cake brought by you, frankly.
I said I brought the cakes, not that anyone ate them.
Grant, so there seems to be a definite theme of the three adverts we've got here. Do you care to, I'd say, like, describe them, or preferably, do you care to, like, explain yourself before we dive head on into these three?
Certainly. So all these three adverts are essentially kids' adverts from the early to mid-'80s. Because I think that's, when these things sort of bombarded me the most. It's when I most watched television, is when I was most interested in the subject matter of such things. But as time has gone on, and my job now involves an awful lot of looking at weird old toys from the 80s and stuff like that. So it's never quite gone away for me. I had like 15 years without having to think about Skeletor and the Evil Horde. But now it's back. And it sits in my head all the time.
The first one is from 1991, and it's HeroQuest, a board game. Does this mean anything to you in particular, Stuart?
Oh, yes. So, I mean, you will all doubtless remember that HeroQuest was the biggest thing in the world for like 6 or 7 months, wasn't it? Over Christmas, everybody was talking about it. It was the big toy to have. Everybody had it. Virtually nobody played it. We actually did. Didn't get around to painting the miniatures. Well, I think I painted one of the miniatures out of the entire set. That's not very impressive, really, is it? But yeah, it was the board game, and it sort of captured the imagination of me and my friends, and we played it quite considerably. Then went on to Advanced HeroQuest, which was the same but more boring.
Wow.
Yeah, it really is.
More
boring. The Advanced HeroQuest is really not very good. It's just as
Blow my
the
mind,
tagline. Yeah. Remember that thing you liked?
Boring.
Yeah.
HeroQuest. Deep inside another dimension, face battling barbarians and evil magic on a quest for adventure in a maze of monsters. This is HeroQuest, the fantasy adventure game where winning means mastering the arts of combat
I'll use my broadsword.
and magic.
Fire of Wrath.
Once you get into it, you'll never be the same. HeroQuest. Now with 2 new adventure packs, the legend grows.
All right.
Is that
brought
Christopher
you back?
Lee then?
That's fake Christopher Lee. Poundland Christopher Lee.
Ah,
Yeah.
I tell you what,
Lee.
that is a good impression of Christopher Lee, though, right? I was fooled. I was convinced it was him.
Well, come on, let's stop messing around. Oh, use me broadsword, Mary Poppins.
Yes, yeah.
If I
Broadsword.
swing it in me chimney, problem of that.
Is it dubbed from an American advert?
Almost
Presumably by Americans who think we all speak like Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins.
So we looked into this, and amazingly, that's the original, and the American ones dubbed it into American voices.
way.
Yeah, because
Wow.
Milton Bradley and Games Workshop both being British companies. Yeah. So there
Ah.
is a more American advert, which is very jarring if you've seen that one. It's like, but they sound human. Damn it! Isn't correct
But-
at all.
I'm going to say
kids,
something
they-
quite controversial here, but I stand by it and I mean it. That advert is better than Lord of the Rings. I don't care what
Certainly better than The Hobbit. Yeah.
Well, it's mercifully short for starters. You know?
More concise.
It
Than
gets
all of them.
everything done that Lord of the Rings tries to do in what, 30 seconds?
One of
I do
my
want
Bless
to
you, MB.
play it.
Yeah.
Conan's there, and the little green
Yeah.
goblin fella. You were nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
That
That
fella
pan where
too.
it goes, it's on this side of the chair, and it sees the little boy, and then it goes around the back of the chair, and now he's a goblin because he's into it. I like that.
A little
He's
cockney
into it.
goblin, no doubt. Hey, governor, I'm going to gobble your lins or whatever it is we do. One of my favourite things about that advert is the bit where actually, this is where you can tell it's the pound shop Christopher Lee and not the real Christopher Lee, because he would never have made such a mistake with his intonation. But there's a bit where he says, it basically explains that you face battling warriors or whatever it is. But the way he phrases it is he says,
Face battling barbarians.
as if someone's like going for your face, like exclusively trying to cut your nose off or something, which it might be in the
An
game,
effective
but it
tactic,
sounds odd.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that at the end it says around the very specific price of £21.95p. It's around this exact precise number. It's like, how old do you think he is? I'd say around 61 years, 5 months and a day. Bless him at MB.
It's the old thing of Argos being £2 cheaper than everywhere else, and John Lewis being £5 more, isn't it? I reckon.
Yeah, it's got to be that, or just some dodgy guy in the market who's selling it, for, around quite a lot less.
Want to buy HeroQuest? What are you buying?
Got some orcs, got some goblins, tights for the missus. Oh.
I think one of the things it does well as an advert is because, in the 80s, your imagination was king, wasn't it? We didn't have access to as much culture really in any sense. So like when an advert came on for a toy and they'd made the world the toy was set in, that captured you so much. And this one does that really well.
Well, I think the thing with the game is like I'd see the advert as a kid and think, whoa, that's amazing. Mum. And then for 6 months until Christmas, mum. And finally get it. Christmas came and I'm in there in a flurry of green and red paper all over the place. I open the box and then, is that it? I mean, I didn't use up a present credit to have to use my imagination. That's your job, MB.
I've got to paint this myself. What? You've given me a job. You've given me a job for Christmas.
I have to put it on the board and move it myself. It doesn't come alive. What?
Thought I'd be a cool Cockney kid.
Fire of Wrath.
You're halfway there, Jim.
Wrath. I love the way he says that.
So, Stuart, did you have this as a kid?
Yes. Yeah, that was my big present one year. Yeah.
Nice.
And in contrast to you there, I was so excited to open it and get all the plastic. It's all on sprues, it's going to take me 40 years before I can even play the damn thing.
It was rehearsal what you do on YouTube now, mate.
Yeah, exactly. I've supposed to channel it into a career 30 years later.
To be fair, I mean, a lot of people have careers like this now, and isn't it nice to prove an entire generation wrong?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? If I could have gone to the careers advisor and say, right, I need to stop doing all this bloody learning and play more video games and stupid board games and have more toys, and that will actually do me in better stead.
Yeah.
I can't really see them having got along with that at the time, and yet here we are.
I don't remember our school even having a career advisor for us. Like, what a lack of faith. Like, you know what? We're not even going to waste the guy's time on you lot.
Our career advisor came in for like 1 day per year, literally. And you had like 5 minutes with him. And it was just a case of, oh, well, you can count. You're going to go to Norwich Union then. and I did.
The only time I remember a careers advisor coming to our school was when a bus thing parked outside in the school grounds. And it was sponsored by the MOD. And everyone who went in there, they went, yeah, you should be a soldier. Have you thought about being a soldier? Nearly every single person.
Have you ever
you're good at drawing? No. Brilliant. Soldiers love to draw. Okay. Yeah, I'll be a soldier then. It sounds pretty good, actually.
We had that do you remember the cascade forms where you'd have to fill in these weird computerized forms that they would send off and then come back and suggest careers for you based on your answers?
Ooh,
does that ring a bell?
It does, yeah. I don't think I've done one, but I'm familiar with the form. What did it come up with for you?
Oh, God, I forget. It was just really generic things like solicitor. Well, yeah, I look forward to the training for that. Person who puts numbers in a computer. Famously, one of the kids got wig maker, which is like, are you taking the piss now? Why is that even in the database? It wasn't like his major one, I should point out, but it was like further down the list.
So neat.
Either a wigmaker or Mozart. You could be one of
Yes,
those.
yeah.
Wow, that's
I mean,
fun.
how niche does it get? Is it like, oh, you should be a Del Boy impersonator? I don't...
And like what 3 people of this 4-personal panel can attest is there's no cause for wig makers anymore.
No, yes.
We are living embodiments of that.
I don't know.
Bald wigs might be the future.
Bald wigs.
Yeah.
I'd hire a wig maker if I knew one. Straight. I wear wigs all the time. I just don't know where I get them.
Quite right. Yeah, I love that advert. So we're going to move on. In fact, we're moving backwards a little bit in time to 1979. And this is for another much coveted present for Christmas. It's Big Trak. Stuart, let us know.
Yeah.
What is Big Trak?
Big Trak was Andy's, because they I think they're still selling like a replica one. They were at 10 years ago at least. A big plastic lump, because it's the 80s. It's got wheels and it looks a bit like a moon buggy. Have you ever played Moon Patrol? Okay, game a bit similar to that. And you can program it with certain commands like move forward 3 lengths, rotate right, make a beeping noise, go forward some more. So you can measure it all up, put your program into the top of the Big Trak, press a button, and off it goes. But it seems like the coolest thing ever, of course, because it's a big lump of plastic that you can control remotely, kind of, by pre-programming it. So it's kind of like a maths lesson and a toy all in one.
Oh, when they snuck in school into toys, forget it.
This is Big Trak, the computer-activated truck from MB Electronics. Program in up to 16 commands, and Big Trak will advance, turn, and fire 3 blasts. Big Trak follows its instructions and can maneuver around every obstacle to complete its mission. Program it, and Big Trak obeys.
Well done, Big Trak.
Big Trak from MB Electronics.
$39.95.
Yep.
In 1979.
You could buy a house for that then.
I literally never saw one except the school had one. And you weren't allowed to touch it, only the teachers were. That's how expensive Big Trak was.
What a useless product. I need a device that costs me $39.95 to bring an apple to Dad.
Dad, I know. How scary is his dad that he can only offer him fruit through a sort of digital assistant?
Dog's had it too easy for too long.
Yeah. I like the dog looks blind to me because it can see something has happened, but it doesn't sort of look at the Big Trak and go, "What is this?" It just
been blinded by the powerful bulbs of the Big Trak shooting photons.
It could be the 3 blasts.
I think the dog is 109 in human years. Not even
Yeah. So there's a bit where when Dad's getting an apple, when Scary Dad's getting an apple, in the background as well, it's like an indoor coal shed. Well, I can't work out what it is. It's like it's too small to be a piano. It doesn't really look like a sort of bureau. It looks like it's iron. What is going on with this family?
It's just a telltale sign that it's filmed in the north. That mate, it's probably just a northern thing. We've all got stuff like that.
We've got a finger on our pulse for robotics when it comes up here. Yeah. We've got them making tea for us and everything.
And all of our dads are angry, so it makes sense.
I reckon it's full of brutal medieval weaponry, which he uses to destroy the knees of anyone who would dare offer him an apple directly.
Using his
I can see this thing has no soul. I shall accept its apple.
Yes. No wonder the dog's traumatized and aged a century. It's cursed. The poor thing looks up. It's just the dog wakes up and goes, $39.95. Having this one.
In 1979. Even I understand that's too much. I'm a dog. I can see why if I was a kid when that came out, you go, oh my God, that's a robot that can be my mate and send Dad apples. Like, when he's guarding the indoor coal shed.
There was another attachment that enabled you to just fit a can, as in like a drinks can in it, and take that as well. I don't know how much of Big Trak was based around delivering things to your dad. That was the entire bloody setup of it. It was the weirdest thing.
Would that kid want to encourage Dad to drink, knowing what we now know about him?
Yeah.
Well, maybe he wants to get him drunk so he can then brutally concuss him in order to get into his secret wardrobe in the background. He's got his cursed orb in or something. I feel we're constructing a narrative that the advertisers may not have intended there.
Yeah, I think HeroQuest has really.
All right, and that brings us to the third in our trifecta, and it is an advert for some He-Men figures. Stuart.
This advert has stuck in my head since I first saw it in like 1980 whatever, because of the stupid, repetitive, ludicrously catchy jingle in it. To this day, it will sometimes just pop up in my head. I'm glad I don't get insomnia, because if I did, this is what would be going around in my head on a 5-second loop, and it would not be good.
Hordak and the evil Horde are out to get He-Man and Skeletor. Hordak, Hordak. Skeletor, Skeletor. Who can defeat gruesome Grislaw and the sucking leech? Grislaw, Grislaw. Leech, Leech. Hordak and the evil Horde. New from Mattel. Hordak.
Oh, that really takes me back.
Leech.
Then inexplicable
Ashens.
close-ups. Yes, that's my new intro. Just need to get a friend called Hordak, so it's scanned.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fascinated by so much, obviously, and we'll go through all of it, I'm sure. But the fact that it's not just this guy's not just He-Man's enemy, he's Skeletor's enemy as well. So they've brought in like a big bad. Perhaps my enemy's enemy is my friend is what's going on here with He-Man. I don't remember this plot development.
The differences aside.
My friend had a couple of these. The hairy one, the beastie hairy one. I don't know his name.
Grislaw.
Yeah.
Grislaw. Sorry, forgive me. And Leech.
You
I think
loser, you don't remember Grislaw.
You call
What
him
a
Leech.
nerd.
Look at me pretending that I'm cooler than I actually am. Oh, I don't know the names.
Yeah.
Grislaw.
Oh, someone was a virgin around then. Yeah, I love this. It's called the sucking leech, but they've just gone
the
leech
sucking
in the
leech.
thing.
That's the one I remember most because you could get a really bad love bite off that thing. From what I remember.
And stick it to windows that left a mark, and your mum went.
Yes.
It was amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember someone I knew had it, but I can't remember who that was. But my favourite bit about the leech bit is the kid's reaction to it. He does a proper like Tim from The Office sort of like.
Isn't that
so
weird?
good.
I wonder if that ad's been edited or something, because he's very out of focus, as if it zoomed in from like an existing digital file or something, and everything else goes Grislaw, and you see this close-ups, except for Leech, where it's a kid going, I don't remember that from the original advert. Maybe it is untouched, but I wonder if somebody's done some evil machinations behind the
Yeah.
scene.
I love the kid undermining the advert he's in.
Yeah. Final shot they edited out was him holding up a sign saying, "Up yours, Leech." Glory shite. Yes.
I've seen enough Grislaws in my time in like plastic boxes in dentists' waiting rooms to know that they were a sponge, an evil horde, if you will, of bacteria.
Yeah, I
you
hadn't
could
thought of
see
that.
it. Vroom, vroom, vroom.
Yeah, hairy toy. You don't really see many hairy toys thinking about it, and that's obviously why.
Yeah. Oh dear me.
I do like that when Hordak comes along and he's facing Skeletor, and they've both got these quite impressive weapons. You're like, whoa, this is a showdown of the big bads. He just lamps him. Just like, he just they have the toy punch him. Like they're in a sort of pub car park fight.
It's so cheaply put together, isn't it? It really is. Just, let's punch in a few times on the music and get somebody who just sounds like he hasn't cleared his throat to do the...
Yeah.
Grislaw. Oh, sorry. Oh, dear.
Grislaw in my throat.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, again, though, it does... They've only needed to make the minimal effort for my 80s child's brain to think, like, that's where these toys live. Like, that's the closest I'm going to get to, like, being in He-Man. It's quite weird to advertise the villains as well.
Not even the
just-
established villains. They're making up new villains for us to get, yeah.
He-Man
what,
doesn't get
there's
out of
a-
bed for an advert like this.
Yeah. He's got that cameo at the start.
Yeah.
That's just his stunt up.
Yeah. There's a definite, like, WWF feel to this. Like, we've introduced a new stable of bad guys.
Oh, my God. Yeah,
and
new
they turn
bunch of heels
Skeletor
come in.
face.
Yeah. It's physically impossible for him, bless him. But,
It does feel to me like with the music, it feels like some kind of up and coming hair metal stroke kind of Kiss Bon Jovi kind of, and played a few gigs here and there. And the drummer said, "Got us our first commission recording, lads." 10 hours later, it's like, "You're out of the band, Mark." This is horrible.
When you were singing Grizzlaw, I just didn't feel it. I didn't believe you were invested in the sucking leech.
I hate that leech. Like, I'm slightly frightened of it.
Oh, there's a take. Yes.
Do you know what I mean, though? But
mate. He speaks very highly of you.
Well, he shouldn't.
Where's his eyes? What's his eyes doing?
Exactly. His eyes are on the side of his head.
Are they?
Massive.
Like that.
Yeah.
So he hasn't got binocular vision. Binocular vision is like elementary requirement of a bad guy. You can't go, "Right, I'm going to take you all over." Where have you got? "Oh, hey, all right, just 1 minute." Maybe that's what the crash zoom's all about. Like,
Well, he hasn't got one. Doesn't want to reveal his weaknesses. That's true, because how would he know what he's sticking his face on? Because that's a massive blind spot.
well, quite, yeah.
He doesn't care. That's what's scary about him. He doesn't care. He doesn't care if it's your knee or your face. He's just going to suck it off. It's horrible.
Thinking about it, though, he needs an opponent who's got a surface area smaller than that massive disc on his face to be able to be effective. So He-Man probably doesn't have a surface like that it can actually suck onto. So other than giving kids love bites, what is the point in this toy? It needs to be a smaller one.
He changes the windows on Skeletor's Snake Mountain bed.
Oh, he's just got a job. He's not actually a bad guy. He's just
That's exactly it. He's just come along for it. Yeah. Just, we're missing somebody for the advert. Look, get Leech. He's always free. Yeah.
Leech is weird. Is Leech doing
who?
Leech?
Get who? Get Leech.
Yeah.
He's like a
glass. Hang on.
Like a what?
God. Thank you all so much for getting this far with We Like Old Adverts. I've been Joe, this is Jim and Connell and Stuart. Thank you so much, mate.
You are most welcome. Thank you.
Is there anything you'd like to plug before we say goodbye?
Oh, yeah, just search me out on the YouTubes and the Twitch. Ashens, ASHENS. That's all you need to know.
It's all you need to know. It's an excellent channel as well. All right, and also, this is the first of 2 parts. The next one is going to be on the following Wednesday when this is released. It will also have Ashens in it as well. So exciting stuff. Thank you all very much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, all that nonsense, and have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Bye.